What up, guys? Yep, we have another Oktoberfest beer going on today. This is one of my first real smaller craft beers from outside of the state of Arizona, so I'm thankful that, we're starting to get somewhere with the outside state craft beers. Still semi-local, but it is Odell Brewing Company's Oktoberfest Marzen style lager outside of Fort Collins, Colorado. So that is really as far as the mid to the smaller range craft beers I've gotten for where I'm at. But and just a side note, I love this can. The animation, the everything on it, I love it. I think it's one of my favorites. So if we're going for can designs, Odell, you're on top, man. But this beer is one of the heavier, stronger beers. It's at 6.1% ABV, which is, most of these are averaging around 5.7, 5.8. Some of them get up to 6 points. This is 6.1. It was a thicker pour. It's definitely, and it looks, sometimes you can look at the top and see some of the bubbles, and it just looks a little thicker, almost like there's a level of like oil on the top of it. It definitely poured a little thicker than some of the others. So I feel like this is probably going to be stronger in that malty, barley kind of thing. I have a feeling it's going to be like that. But we'll find out, won't we? So, all right, let's get in the review and get into the smell. Yeah, you can already you can smell the malted barley kind of thing going on in there. It has a molasses aroma to it. To me, it has one of those seasonal Belgian strong ale aromas to it. So if you're a fan of that heavier molassesy malty thing, this might be, at least from smell wise, this might be the kind of thing you might go for. It's probably a stronger aroma than the raisin. It might be more of I get maybe it's sort of like a raisiny apricot kind of thing going on. It's very I don't get much. There's not much of a nuttiness that I'm picking up. I'm picking up just more of the subtle sweetness from raisins and dried apricots and thicker molasses, and you just got, it smells like it's going to be one of those thicker kind of beers. So I will recommend it. I'll admit the super malty barley kind of thing isn't exactly my favorite, but we'll see. I'll recommend it on smell. It smells like, it could be well done. It doesn't smell skunky. But again, we'll see. It might. So I feel like some of the beers that try to go ultra malty, it's like drinking something with a very serrated edge. It cuts kind of harshly when they go a little over the top for some of these beers. But again, we'll see. And so I recommend it on smell. Let's get into the taste. All right, a little smoother than I thought it'd be. I'll be honest. It definitely has more of that British strong ale kind of thing. I don't remember what beer it was at the top of my head, but I got it. It was like an aged British beer, and it poured like cough syrup, super thick. It had that very kind of molassesy sweetness to it, and this isn't to the same extent, but it has that. It's definitely. The sweetness comes from more of a thicker kind of molasses kind of thing. And it doesn't... It doesn't have that serrated edge thing that I was talking about. I was when I was smelling it, it had that more robust malted kind of barley thing. Some of them they just kind of at least for me they just kind of rub the sides of my tongue wrong. Like if you can like feel it like attacking it. And sometimes I don't know if that's because they pump it too much with too much carbonation. And so you have like bubbles of that strong maltiness like exploding, like depth charges by your tongue. This one doesn't have that, and I like that. It helps smooth it out, and I like it. It is stronger. It does have that stronger, more robust malty flavor to it, but it's smooth, and I like that a lot. I think even though I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of overly maltiness, I think this is done in a very good job so that it drinks very smoothly. So yeah, you have that molassesy thing. You have the that sweetness coming from like the dried apricot, maybe a little bit of prune kind of thing. You have some of that in there. It's not overbearing, but there's just enough. They didn't have that, and it was just that kind of like malted barley thing that just take it over. And but it doesn't. It's smooth. It's easy to drink. It tastes like something where the alcohol content would be more substantially higher. I'll be honest. I mean, it is 6.1, so it is a tick higher than probably 95% of the Oktoberfest beers out there. But it tastes like it should. It tastes like it should be even higher to me. But I'm actually rather impressed with how smooth they made this. I think they could have taken a wrong turn and ended up in like who knows where. So I am rather impressed. I like it. I will recommend it on taste. All right, next category is value for price, and yeah, this one is another one of those where it's a craft beer. It is an independent craft beer. It has that, that stupid upside down beer bottle label. It's still just like, you guys couldn't do anything better than that. But so they let you know that it is an independent brewery. So $2 for a real traditional craft beer, I think is more than fair. So I will recommend it on value for price. Our next category is distinction. How distinct is it? And kind of one of those burps that like punching to get out. It does to me taste more like a British strong ale, like amber, more so than maybe what you're expecting from a traditional Oktoberfest. Even though it is a Marzen style lager, so it is that German lager thing. But to me, it tastes more like an English ale than a German lager. I'm trying to think how to categorize this. I wish I'd had more from Odell to see what else other stuff they do. It is more, I feel like for the stronger maltiness, I feel like it is more refined than a lot of the other ones I've had, especially ones from the States that I've had. A lot of the overly malty ones from the States are just rough around the edges. And this one isn't. So in that case, it is distinct. It is distinct as in... it is a little more distinct that it does the stronger lager, stronger ale fairly well. And it does have a bit of the Oktoberfest thing. It's not exactly what I'd picture for Oktoberfest beer. Where it definitely has more of that, like you're just getting a strong British ale. I feel like this should be like a tall brown or clear glass, because a lot of the British beers are clear glass with like a portrait of an old man on the front. I feel like that'd be if that was in something like that, I would totally buy. I mean, okay, that makes sense. It tastes like a British ale like that. I mean, okay, I'll recommend it on the station. I'm teetering. I'm not totally sure. It tastes different enough from Oktoberfest, and I think from a lot of the Oktoberfest beers you've had, and it has enough of, I think, Oktoberfest elements to still kind of like keep it in that category, even though I'm leaning more towards British, but, to each their own. Next category is drinkability, and this is one I definitely could not go fast on. I would probably only get one on. It's just that it's thicker. I think that's really the key here. It poured thick. When you poured it out of the can, you could tell it's going to be a thicker beer. And usually, I mean, for those thicker beers, I'll have one and then tap out to something else. I think that's the case here. This is not something I'd get probably two of. I'd get one, and it'd probably take me a while to finish that one. And it's just not something that you're going to like do quickly. It's like it tastes more like it'd be like a strong 8 to 9% alcohol. Just with the thickness and that, just the taste. Or at least that's what I always associated the taste with when I had some of those Belgian like winter ales, the ones that had like 13% alcohol, the way you just like. So I'd go slow, and I'd probably only do one. So drinkability, I'll give it a half. I think if you're into this kind of beer, I mean, maybe you drink more of them, but it's just not something you're going to probably, at least for me, that I'm going to be doing over and over throughout the course of an evening or a day or whatever. And it's definitely not a summertime beer. Summer is over when you crack this thing open. And all right, last category is what I buy again. And so that's really a personal question, or it's more personalized for this, because this stronger ale kind of thing isn't necessarily, that's not my go-to. I have nothing wrong, I have not against drinking it, especially later on in the year. And I think this is well enough done where I wouldn't have a problem getting it again, but it'd have to be a very specific situation. If I'm going for an Oktoberfest beer, I'm probably going to get something different. Get something a little lighter, because this just tastes heavy. So I'll probably give it a half on buy it again. I might, but it's a kind of a situational might. I think if you're watching this channel, chances are that you're kind of the beer person of your group of friends. Like, people look to you to maybe for beer suggestions and kind of stuff like that. And if you know somebody that likes those stronger ales, the kind of stuff, then get this for them, or tell them to try it out. And so if I'm with somebody that wants something like that, yeah, I'd get it and we'd drink that. But I feel like not a ton of people go for that nowadays. Because it's not very, this is like a different side of the spectrum. Most of the people go into the bitterness or the sweetness. This isn't really either of them. It's its own kind of thing. And so a very specific group of people will be drinking this. And so I think, situational, if I'm around those people, or if I just really feel like maybe just nursing one, go with this. Because I think this is another one of those beers that would actually taste pretty good as it gets warmer. You could probably drink it room temperature or close to room temperature, and the taste wouldn't really change. So this is a good beer for if you just want one, you want to be able to nurse it, and you don't want it to go like funky on you, because it's warm and it becomes undrinkable. So this is kind of a this is one of those beers that could work for that. But I'm gonna give it a half for me personally, because I might get it again, I might not because it's bad, because I think it's done well, just because me personally, for my beer taste. But all right, that is my review of Odell Brewing Company's Oktoberfest Marzen style lager. Have you had it? Is this? I don't know what the distribution is off the top of my head. I will include the link for a Secret Brew, which is very helpful for finding distribution for certain beers. See if it hits your state. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff, and I will try to keep you doing more Oktoberfest beers. At this point, I only have 2 in my fridge right now, and I have not seen any more. Trust me, I've been looking. So, hopefully in the next week, more starts hitting the shelves. Otherwise, we might have a few days of I'll be winging it. I have a different michelada I'll throw out there. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, that is the review. And so for myself and for Odell Brewing Company's Oktoberfest Marzen Style Lager, take it easy.